Hello and welcome back to Patio Prayer and Praise Time at ppptime.com and Woodruff Family Wisdom. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, as promised, we are going to complete our series on menopause push through. So again, I hope everyone had a good night's sleep and everyone is feeling well, and that we're taking our multivitamins, we're exercising and doing everything we know to do to stay well and healthy. And last time I said that I was going to share 10 symptoms instead of 5, and I am going to do that, but I did want a prerequisites. The reason why I feel like it's so important to talk about menopause push through on our channel, although our focus is marriage and family, because God cares about the entire family unit. That's why I am addressing it. And as you notice that my husband does daily devotionals and he's teaching on the Proverbs, and that's really for us, but mainly for our children, because our children, our health, and our family members, it can really take a toll on the dynamic of the family. If you have a child who is kind of disobedient or likes to, I say, be creative in his own way, or if you have a spouse who is sickly, or if you have that family member who's always wanting to borrow some money and someone doesn't agree, it can really take a toll on the family unit, on the marriage. So it's hard to come together on date night and think about something romantical if you have all of these different noises going on in the family. So the noise that I am trying to help us with is the noise of menopause, because I can remember when I was going through these symptoms of perimenopause, it was such a distraction in our relationship. And thank God I had a very, very understanding and very patient husband. But I can remember I hated when Fridays and Saturdays came around, because date night was such a pressure to me, because I know I didn't, most of the time, did not feel well, and I know my husband was excited about it's date night, what are we going to do, especially in times of intimacy. I'm like, I don't even want to think about that because I don't even feel well. I don't even, sometimes, we're going to talk about one thing for sure, and that's the intrusive thoughts or the anxiety, and just thinking about being intimate with my husband was caused anxiety and a lot of intrusive thoughts. So we'll talk about that today. But I did want to share a little bit more about this noise that hinders the relationship. And so today we're going to start with 10 more symptoms, and the very first one is belly fat, and we're going to deal with fluid retention, depression, intrusive thoughts, paranoia, anxiety, frequent urination, loss of libido, and urinary issues, loss of bladder control. Like I said, when I asked my mother about menopause, she said she was too old, she didn't remember. And then when I came back to ask her about menopause, about 5 or 6 months later, unfortunately, my mom had a triple bypass surgery, heart surgery, and it left her and she had a couple of strokes during that time, and she never fully recovered, so she never had opportunity to explain to me anything about menopause. So, but I'm planning on being here for 120 years, so if my daughters ask me anything about, I have 3 daughters, and if they ask me about menopause, I hope I'll be able to answer those questions, or I'm probably going to say refer to these videos. That's probably what I'm going to say. Okay, so let's just start with belly fat, because that's the one thing. If you notice, when women start going through menopause, their girth get larger, and a lot of times it can be due to diabetes, because that's one thing diabetics have, is a larger midsection. So if it's not diabetic, to where you really need to talk to the doctor about that. And let's get my disclaimer out the way first. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist. I am someone who have been through perimenopause, managed a nutrition store, so me and the ladies just did a lot of research, and we came together intimately and talked about all these things, and we found out some of the natural herbs and things that work for menopause. So that is my disclaimer. Okay, so back to the midsection belly fat. So if you're not a diabetic and you still have all that this body fat. Your essential fatty acids, again, something like sensor, GNC have a lot of good things that will cut fat deposits. So CLA is one of the #1 selling products that they have. I'm not putting in a plug-in for GNC at all, because a lot of nutritional stores have things that cuts body fat deposits that would help you lose weight around your midsection. And the #1 thing is just exercise. And let me just say this too. So a lot of these symptoms is because we don't want to exercise and we just don't want to eat right. We still want to eat the way we ate when we were 10. So a lot of these things can be dealt with just by changing our diet and exercising. So the curse causally just not going to come. We know that the food system is messed up. We have genetically altered food. However, let's just go ahead and eat and exercise. Okay, so that's body fat. You can do CLA, any essential fatty acids can help you with your body fat. It cuts fat deposits. And then you have fluid retention. You can also do a diet, any type of lemon water will help with like swollen ankles and things of that nature. I did have one leg. I knew my ankle swollen. I knew it was time. Although I had irregular periods, I just knew when that period was going to come, because you know your periods are going to get further and further apart. But that's how I knew mine was coming, because I had my right ankle that was just swell, and that foot was swell. Let me know it was on its way. And you can always use any type of diuretic to help get rid of some of that water. But you want to make sure that you watch out and not be dehydrated, because it can cause heart palpitations and other issues. Okay, now you got depression, intrusive thoughts, paranoia, anxiety. A lot of times the doctor want to give you a Xanax. You can do that, but you just got to watch what you eat. You can't be eating a lot of sugars and a lot of carbs, because those potato chips and all that candy now, you know, you're going through those food sensitivities. You can refer back to my last video where it talks about those food sensitivities. And that's one of the repercussions of eating all these sweets and chips, because now your body is not processing it well, so it can send you into anxiety. You can do any study on ADHD and things of that nature. It'll tell you that it has to do something with your children's diet. So diet has a lot to do with your brain function, okay? And then we talk about frequent urination or loss of bladder control. So we're going to talk about irregular periods and loss of libido. Okay, irregular periods, there's nothing you can do about that. Your periods are going to get further and further apart because it's trying to come up on a stop. That's what menopause means, that you will not have a period any longer. So you're going to have irregular periods. Sometimes they may be a month apart, 2 months apart, 3 months apart, but they'll get further and further and further apart. And then I said loss of libido. That's going to be part of it too. But one thing there's a lot of things you can take for that, for libido. One thing is good for it is primrose. It's good for loss of libido. But like again, if you are estrogen dominant, you may not want to take a lot of primrose, because it is adding your estrogen back in. And another thing you want to consider for loss of libido is your Vitex, because it has testosterone and progesterone in it. And also damiana is a good herb because it balances the hormones. And it's also good for you know, like the intrusive thoughts and the paranoid anxiety. And also Vitex, which is good for the intrusive thoughts and for brain function. And fish oil is good for brain function as well. But Vitex, I always say that's a happy pill. It's really good for that. One thing that's really good for bladder control or frequent urination is dandelion. That's a good herb. You can take the dandelion tea. And I know y'all are hearing all the airplanes again. You can see this is patio prayer and praise time, so I am sitting on the patio. This is my woosah space that I love and enjoy, and it's a nice sunny day here again in Texas. So sorry for the airplanes. I'm trying to stop talking when while they're coming over. Okay, so you have dandelion for that bladder control and frequent urination. Okay, so I'm telling you, sometimes you can feel like you go to the bathroom, you go back and lay down, and you got to go immediately. You're going right back again, and nothing is worse than every time you go somewhere you got to use the bathroom every so often. So that is, you know, another annoying symptom that we're overcoming. Okay, so we know that, like we said before, you can visit the other YouTubes, that God wants to heal us just like he did with the woman with the issue of blood. You know, she pressed through and she touched Jesus, the hem of Jesus' garment, and she was desperate, and got she was delivered, and so are we. So as you press into the natural, you're going to press in even more to the spiritual, so you can do what you need to do to be healed. Now, one thing about the woman with the issue of blood, she had did everything natural. She had spent all of her money. No one could heal her, and no one could help her. But she found out that Jesus was coming through, and she had faith enough to push through the crowd, and touch the hem of his garment. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do our part, and then we're going to ask God to do his part. And like I said, a lot of it is just nutrition, eating the right foods, and exercising as we get older. We can't decide that, now that I'm a little older, I'm just going to sit down and do nothing. We can't do that. If we're going to live to 120 years old, don't let old age creep up on you like that. Okay? And again, I just want to say thank you for listening to Menopause Push Through. And again, we're going to push straight through it. The good news is that it ends. It ends. It ends. So you have to keep pushing through it and being an adult about it. Exercise, eat right, prayer, and continuing on to our victory. Just like the woman with the issue of blood. So thanks again for tuning in to Menopause Push Through, and remember that you are happy, healthy, wealthy, fit, and forgiven. God bless you, and you have a wonderful day.